Hello and welcome to Single and Complete. My name is Olanyinka Okeowo. I hope you're well and you've been staying safe. We live in hard times and it is important for us to look after ourselves and ensure that we are safe wherever we are. If you have been on this journey with me, you will notice that in the last few episodes, I have been talking a lot about my place of separation. And as I explained in the last episode, my place of separation is not to say that I locked myself up in some place, but it's a journey. It has been a journey for me. Remember, I've been a single parent for 26 years. And in those years, it's been a journey for me. And at every bus stop, I learn something new, or I encounter God in different ways. In the last episode, I spoke about laying every weight at the feet of Jesus because he cares for us. And another lesson I learned in my place of separation as I journey as a single mom is modeling. And I will explain how. I happened to go on a trip with my children during a Christmas, one Christmas time. They were much younger. Of course, they're adults now, but they were much younger. They were in their teens at the time. We went on a trip, and at the end of the trip, I believe we had a lovely time on that trip. And at the end of the trip, we needed to return. We were supposed to return the car we hired back to the airport, at the airport, so that we can return the key and get our deposit and everything back. And to cut the long story short, the day before, I asked the children to get themselves ready, as I was getting myself ready as well, to get our stuff ready so we could leave the hotel at the right time and get to the airport, hand the key over, and everything is done before we board the flight to come back home. And home is London, UK. So all I said was, get yourself ready. And this child began to strop. And it really, really upset me that I just chose not to say anything at the time. It's not to say that I was concealing anything, but I just felt if I react to that child's behavior at the time, I would spoil things. So I left and I just carried on doing my things. When it was time to get in the car, to return the car to the airport. And when the child saw that I was doing my stuff, the child also obviously parked, and we got to the airport. We boarded the flight. We got back home safely. After we got home, I felt the urge to go for a walk. So as I left the house, as I was walking, I was moaning. I felt I was doing my best. But obviously, it felt as though my best wasn't enough. And I felt really upset and hurt about that. And I was talking to God about it. Obviously, as a single mom, God has become my husband, and so I talk to him a lot. As I was sharing that with God on my way, as I walked, I heard him say to me very, very strongly in my spirit that you have to model to your children. You have to model to your children. I didn't quite understand that statement. And that caused me to pause and reflect on that statement. You have to model. What does it mean to model? Knowing that I'm not an expert, I'm not perfect. And we're not expected to be perfect as parents. But it isn't impossible for us. From that point, as I was reflecting and I was saying, God, you know what? I need your help. I need you to help me. I cannot do this in my strength. I cannot do this on my own. I need you to support me. I need you to strengthen me. I need that grace to do this, because I know that I am not perfect. I'm still a work in progress. So are you. We're all work in progress until that day that we see Jesus face to face. God is working in us every time. And I believe without any shadow of doubt that it is not impossible to raise godly, happy, healthy, and well-adjusted children. And how do we do that? How did I do that? Our children need love. They need our unconditional love. They need boundaries. It is important for us to set boundaries for our children. Remember, we're modeling. We're the only mirror our children see. So they look at us every time. We need to demonstrate love, unconditional love. We need to set boundaries for them. We have someone they have to look up to and learn from. Remember, we are their mirror. And my job and your job as parents is to lead by example, modeling the kind of behavior that I want and you want your children to adopt. As a role model, of course, it often means taking a close and honest look at how I live my life. I have to look at how I live my life. If I'm being a role model, what am I modeling to my children? It's important that I need to look and reflect on my own life and see how I can better myself. You will observe, or if you've been following me, you notice that I haven't really been talking much about the children, really focusing on children, but I've been focusing a lot on myself because, as I said, I'm still a work in progress. I'm learning new things about myself. After my divorce with my ex, I'm learning to unlearn what I know and learn new things. And that's why I'm grateful to God for the encounters I have been having and how God has been teaching me through the people He surrounded me with as well. So as I said, becoming a role model, it means I have to be honest and look at how I live my own life. And this kind of self-examination can be uncomfortable at times. It can be hard. It is tough because the job of two has suddenly become that of one. There were two hats before as parents, but now it's become the two combined together, and it is not easy. It can be uncomfortable sometimes, especially that I wasn't born in this setting. I was born in a different setting where parents have that authority. It not to say that I don't have the authority, but where parents become autocratic instead of them to, like a dictator, instead of them to be warm and gentle with the children. That's the type of setting. And it is not to say that my parents were like that. My parents were wonderful parents, very warm, gentle, and loving parents. It is necessary for me and for the well-being of my children to self-examine myself, to reflect on the things I do, to reflect on how I lead my children. So as a single parent, it is important for us to lead by example. And leading by example will help our children to build character and self-respect. And we have to model this. We're their role model. That means I have to be my best. I have to be my best because my children will watch everything I do. When you pretend, they know. They watch everything I do. So I have to be my best. And being my best is not easy. Being my best and not pretending Knowing that when my children turn their back and somebody say your mom did this, they will say, actually, that's not my mom. Doing my best. I need God to do that. So do you. It is important that I take care of myself. They observe how I take care of myself, how I take care of the home, what I do. Because what you do, they see from very young, and you see them emulating that. They emulate that. I observe children a lot. And, children in nursery school, sometimes they behave like the parents. They behave like the parents. They behave as, because they've mirrored the parents. They've seen what the parents are doing. And so they sometimes they do mimic that. Children are very innocent. I need to take care of myself. I love to smell nice. So all these things they watch. And as I see them grow, I could see them emulating those things. I need to be dependable. It is important for me to know that I am dependable. They can come to me at any time and depend on me. They see how people that are around me depends on me on some things. They know, my children know that they can depend on me. They know that. And I will not let them down. I need to check myself often. I told you the story about one of my children on our way back from a trip during the Christmas period that I just shared. On my way, as I walked, I was checking myself. What did I do wrong on that trip? We went out, they were given money, they had their money, as teenagers, we have to start teaching them how to manage money. So when we go on holiday, I give them their money to buy what they want. Of course, I'll be there to supervise and to encourage and, make them spend their money wisely. But I watch them, I observe them. So they see how I spend and in the things I do, I have to keep checking myself, reflecting on myself, always reflecting. If I need to tell them off about something they've done, I need to know how I'm going to approach that. We're talking about modeling. And what I'm doing, as I am living like that, they're watching me, they're observing me. I need to check in with myself. How am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? If I see that I've done something not quite right, I ask God to help me. If I don't know what to do, I ask God to show me the way to go, how to go about things. Sometimes as single parents, you don't want to be stripping yourself or naked outside for others to know what's going on in your children's lives. And I would rather talk to God more about my children. And so I need to do that. My children observe how loyal I am to my friends, to people around me. Remember, you are the mirror they are looking at. They observe these things. How loyal am I to people around me, to my friends, to God's people? Because I'm a deaconess in my church, and I minister to God's people. They observe all those things. They observe how open I am. I'm very open with them. If there are things going on I need to talk about, I will talk about it. I'm very open with the people I relate with. Very, very open with the people I relate with. I'm attentive to people. I listen. Give them my attention. They observe that. And how do you respond to what you hear? I'm very honest. I'll tell you what I think. Sometimes we don't tell it as it is, because when you tell it as it is, it can cut people. We need to talk constructively. They look at that. And when I'm looking at my children now, I see a lot of the things, or when I talk to them, they will say, but you taught us like that. You taught us to be this. And I'm thinking, when did I teach you that? But they're watching me. They do that by observing me. I didn't know I was modeling until God told me, you need to model to your children. There's nothing wrong in us saying sorry. I say sorry sometimes when I get it wrong. Listen, my sisters, I know that this is a journey and it is not easy. It is not easy. But God is calling you and calling me to be a good role model to our children. When we make our home warm and comfortable, our children will come back home. Even if they go out, they are married, they would want to come home. Oh, I want to come and eat mommy's food. I want to do this. The home is warm for them because of the way I have carried myself and I have lived my life. I pray for you, my sisters. I pray for you, my friends. For those who are still struggling with their children. For those of you who think, I've lost this child is never going to change. God is able to turn things around. But you can unlearn to learn new things if you open yourself to God. He is able. And I pray for you, my friends and my sisters, that your hard work, your struggle, your pain, because sometimes it can be painful, especially as the children are growing to adult age. It can be, they do things that are painful sometimes. I pray that God will help you. He has helped me. He stood by me. He held my hands. He encouraged me. He speaks to me to guide me, to direct me, to be a real good role model to my children. And I'm not perfect. I'm not there yet. I am still a work in progress. And God will help you. My sisters, my friends, you will reap the fruit of your labor. Your labor, my labor over our children will not go in vain. We will see it, we will reap it, and we will eat it in the name of Jesus. It shall be well with you. If you don't know this God, why don't you open your heart to him? He has been my anchor. He's held my hands. He's helped me through the journey, and he can do the same for you. Why don't you follow me on Instagram, Single and Complete, or you can drop me an email, singleandcomplete@outlook.com. You can also follow me on my YouTube channel, Single and Complete, and let's journey together. I love you all, and God bless you. Remember, we need to be a good model to our children. God bless you. See you in a couple of weeks. God bless.